What's up, guys? It's Eli here. I got a video today about the hip bump sweep. I'm here with my man Aaron. We're at Krav Maga in Maryland. This sweep is one of the first basic, simplest sweeps that you're ever going to learn in Jiu-Jitsu, but it stays good at every single level. But this sweep right here has one of the biggest returns on investment from closed guard, I think, of almost anything. So first of all, the benefit of it, we started from closed guard essentially, and there's not a ton of sweeping potential behind closed guard, especially no gi. So that's why this is such a valuable technique right off the bat. Let's look at the basic fundamental mechanics about it. We start here from closed guard. Now this may happen from him being postured up, or it may happen from him being postured down. If we start from here like this and he's sitting up, if I can get his hands off me to the floor, because he should have his hands on my body some way if he's wanting to split the guard and start passing, but if I get the hands off to the floor, I may be able to sit straight up into the sweeping potential for it here. When I'm coming up, I want to post elbow then hand. This hand is going to come up and over his shoulder. My armpit's going to find his shoulder here like this. This hand is going to cup right on the back of his elbow, not wrapping all the way through and not just kind of floating in the breeze, but wrapping here. I want to attach his bicep to my body, and I'm going to drive off my opposite side foot. So I've got my right foot, left hand across my body, and I'm going to hip into him. This knee is going to come out, and it's going to block his ability to post out wider, and I want to keep that arm bundled up underneath me and sweep him straight over to the mount position. So that's kind of the basic application of this sweep, right? If we want to start it from him postured down on me like this, if he goes to posture himself up, I'm going to ride up with him, so he's actually pulling me into the position. This is when we get to about 90 degrees. I'm going to swing this arm over his head, and again, I'm going to take away that potential post so he can't base out. If I do wrap through like this and I start to drive, he'll tend to like post out on that arm over here and stop my sweep from happening. So that's why I want to try to keep this against my body, so that whenever I make the sweep, it's a clean sweep over like that, and I'll land myself into the mounted position. Now, and if he only pulls me up to like 45 degrees to here, it's going to be a little harder. Not impossible, but it's going to be a little harder for me to post off of my elbow to finish this sweep. But what he's given me in return, though, is the ability here to post on just my elbow and then shoot to the other side to start isolating this arm for a Kimura. So if that's the case here, what I want to look to do to finish this Kimura is I want to hook toward the back of his elbow here and pull his elbow toward me as I push this wrist out, as I pull myself back to my back, and then I've got this Kimura isolated here. To finish this out, I want to start hipping to the side. It's best if this leg here can trap the inside leg if it's available, and then hip here until I'm facing over on his side like this. I keep my arms squeezed in nice and tight. This is potentially a thumb grip or thumbless grip. This one is most definitely a thumbless grip, and then I want to try to take his hand to the back of his head here. So it should be a nice tight squeeze like that. So that happens from whenever he starts posting us up, and I'm thinking hip bump sweep, but he doesn't take us quite high enough right there. So instead I shoot through here and I pull back to be able to get myself out to the side, and then I finish that Kimura this way. Likewise, if I do make it up here all the way to go for that sweep, I even get to my hand, I post out, everything's going well, but now he's going to tackle back into me. If he tackles back into me and my hips stay close to him, he puts me back on my back, resets the position, and I've already kind of shown my cards. So I need to kind of be ready whenever I do go up to understand that that's one of his common counters that he's going to be able to do. So when I get here and he tackles back into me, I want to push my hips out this way so that I stay in this vertical posture even though he's pushed into me in this horizontal posture. Now this hand here can start to wrap through, and I go back to like a front headlock position or guillotine. Right? Whenever I go back for the guillotine, because his shoulder's probably tight against me, this hand is going to go in for this arm inside guillotine like this. I'm trying to grab right here on the base of my hand here like this, squeeze the elbows inside, and then I'm going to take that snuff box curling up into his throat that way. And I also want to turn onto my side facing him, similar to what I do in the Kimura. So whenever we get to this position, I'm squeezing the elbow in nice and tight. I'm pulling him in with my legs so his head stays stuck inside, and then I squeeze and curl. And it's a really nice, sharp, tight guillotine right there with that snuff box curling right into the trachea. Now, sometimes whenever I come up and I'm trying to hip bump sweep, he's tackled back into me. Boom, here we get to this position here. If I get there and immediately he starts grabbing at the hand that I'm going in for the choke, so what can happen here, let's do this hand here. So I'm wrapped inside, but he's using that hand to try to pull my hand away from that chin strap that I'm trying to get on him like this. So what that gives me, and I'm not going to probably be able to finish that guillotine from here now, even if I go back on my side, because he's got a good pull inside. But what this is set up though from here is a proposition of two things. So one thing is, if Aaron is pulling here and he's keeping his elbow in tight toward his body like this, then whenever I come here, I'm going to keep him committed to that kind of defense. But since he's tucked his arm in, he is diminishing my ability to finish the guillotine, but he's giving me the ability to go over that arm and shoot back for a triangle on the other side. So by keeping his elbow inside tight like this, he's pulling his arm in, so he's got one in, one out. So that tells me right there, he's primed for the triangle. Again, to finish this position here, I'm either going to hold his head or my shin. I want to push off of his hip if I can, and this hand is going to try to scoop inside, either inside his leg or inside his arm, whichever is available. And then I get myself nice and perpendicular, and I finish out that triangle over there on that side. So one more time on that one. Once I get in for this guillotine that started off of his defense from the hip bump sweep, he tucks that elbow inside this time, so I'm going to play tug of war with him, and then I'm going to let go of the rope and let my leg come over. As I pull this arm outside like this, I shoot in, and I've got the triangle set up right there. Now, it may happen too that whenever we get to that position, that he's pulling with his elbow out wide like this. Now, from there, it's going to be much harder for me to finish the guillotine or to get my leg on the outside for the triangle, but I'm going to do that same kind of concept of playing tug of war, let go of the rope, punch through to this side here. Now, at this point here, I've got this kind of underhook on this side with his head still trapped in, and what that's going to allow me to do from here now is come here, grab the two hands, or if I can, get all the way to here. This is even more powerful if it's available. So whichever is the case, I'm going to put my foot on the floor. I'm going to hit my butt toward that side over here as I turn and twist him this direction, right? What I want to allow to happen whenever I do that is I'm going to feed him this foot inside, so he's tempted to trap for like a quarter guard because he doesn't want me mounting him. Now, he's going to see that the only escape route that he reasonably has is to punch his right arm through the middle. That feels like his exit strategy. And if I leave his elbow on the floor, he might actually make it to a turtle position. But if I instead use this hook to pick him up, I've got the ability now to finish taking his back from right here. So I'm going to continue to pull, make the switch on the arm, and then establish my seatbelt on the rest of the way over. Right. Again, we've come here. I started going in for this guillotine here. He pulls with the elbow out wide this time. I'm going to punch through for the underhook. I'm going to connect the hands in gable grip, or in this full like kind of rear naked choke style grip here. I want to turn him over this direction. I'm posting on my head to give him space to let his exit start, but then I'm going to pick that shoulder up nice and tight, bring my elbow toward the hip here this way, make the exchange on the way over, and then shoot in for the back take. So if we're taking this kind of variation where he pulls me up to sitting and I start to post up with him, sometimes if I don't take this arm to the other side, the potential is there for him to start to post out. And that may actually be something that I want to do to make him post out like that, because from there, that gives me the potential to be able to start submission chains. And one of the best submissions that you can get off of this, if he posts out nice and wide like this, is for now I'm going to hike this leg up his back here, and then I'm going to pull this leg up and through this way. So whenever I do that, he gave me that post, which allowed me to pull my leg inside, and now I've got my triangle set up. To be able to finish this from here, I'm going to scoop inside his leg. I'm going to try to keep attached either on his head or on my shin, and as I rotate, I'm pulling his other arm inside to this triangle. So now it's just a matter of closing this up, and I've got the potential to finish that triangle and also have a little shotgun style arm bar potentially right there too. So I'm going to keep it here, and I'm going to drive and force him to post out, similar to what we did on the triangle. At this point here though, instead of going straight in for the triangle, because either I haven't been able to climb my second leg up his back yet, or I didn't have quite the clearance that I needed on this side, I'm going to step on his bicep this way. When I do that, I'm pushing myself away until my knee comes in between his two legs, and as I sit down, I'm exchanging this over here. So I push his arm open so this foot can swim back inside. At that point here, I'm going to shove his head away and get to this position. In this position here, we typically refer to this as like puppet master position. Got a lot of great options from here. One is that I can keep feeding his arm over and across until I can get this really horrible kind of double wing position here like this. I can feed in for a Kimura on this side. You can go back to the triangle, set up, over here, right? Lots of nasty things that can happen. A really weird one that I kind of like a lot is to allow from here, if he's trying to posture up, then I'm going to hook inside and go in for this Gogo clinch on this side right here. It's a really nasty submission. Both his arms are kind of out of commission. Even if he gets this one back, it's not going to be enough to stop that choke from happening at this point. So again, for the setup here, he sits us up. I come up with him. I go to make that sweep. He posts out. I push by stepping on his bicep. I get myself off to the side, so as I fall, I'm extending a leg out, pushing the foot through to make the switch, and I'm going to shove his head over and away this way, right? Again, far side armbar, near side Kimura, triangle setup. Even if I do manage from here to get this arm across, then I've got a really good back take off of this here. So I can just continue here at this point to pull him and finish taking his back from that same position. Now, sometimes at this point, if I do set up and start going for that hip bump sweep, so he's in this tall postured up position like this here, but he knows kind of what's going to happen as I start to go over, so he kind of tucks his arm through the middle here like this, so that I don't get good access to it. If that's the case here, then what I can look to do is come around and get a hold of the lat. So now we're in this kind of octopus style guard like this. Once I get to this position here, I've got a clear path to his back. I've got a good hook over here on his lat. So now it's going to be hard. Even if he wants to posture up, he's just kind of pulling me with him. And as I start to sit out to the side, it makes it difficult for him to come up. So now I'm going to switch off to the side over there, get a good grip on the lat, and then be able to drag myself up to his back. So I've got my good far side hook established, and I'm able to come through. Now at this point, I can start peeling and dragging him back over this way to pull to the back, or I can topple him by flexing my toes down on the outside of his thigh and then pushing him back this way. In order to do that, I'm going to put my two hands on the floor, pop them over, and then we're back here in this kind of technical mount position, possibly a clean mount position, or I can still fold the foot and continue to pull all the way to the back on this side. The important thing isn't that I have like 15 different options from any of these positions like I'm going through, because there's always like one best option. But the thing is, if he changes his weight distribution or his posture or where his limbs are in a given moment, I need to kind of have a new option that's going to be even better in that moment. And I kind of have to have that in mind as I go into these different places. So that's why this position here, this sweep, the hip bump sweep, gives me so many opportunities, because based on his reaction, his posture, his weight distribution, then he's going to give me different things that I can do along the way, whether it's taking his back, whether it's setting up a triangle, armbar, or some other kind of submission, or whether it's just completing the sweep into another opportunity. So that's why I think this is one of the most versatile sweeps. And if you're not already playing this, or if you quit playing this sweep at some point in your game because you think you're too advanced for it at this point, you're absolutely not. And this sweep continues to pay off through every single level along the way. Let me know what you think about this sweep, guys. I appreciate you watching my video. Appreciate you, Aaron. And if you guys are in the Germantown area in Maryland, make sure you check out Krav Oz. They got great Jiu-Jitsu classes here in addition to all their Krav classes and everything else. Appreciate you watching.